Thank you, Tia. I promised my team that I would do something when I got up here, and I'll do it really fast and explain it. It's taken me 7 years to get on the stage. I've 7. I wasn't counting, Tia. I've done several TED events. I've spoken at Google. I've spoken at the Clinton School. But Boost was slippery. And I made it. So thank you. I'm done. And again, I know Tia's got a lot of thank you, but I do know as her friend how tirelessly she works on this event. To even the detriment of her own health, and she just goes and goes and goes. So Tia, you're a rock star, no question. I've had the pleasure of coming here for 7 years and seeing what you've created, and every year it just keeps getting bigger and better, and so kudos to you. Also, I want to thank Father Boyle. There's something you said this morning that really just hit me hard in a very good way, and it was, and I'm going to mess it up slightly, so I apologize, but it was something to the effect of, until we welcome our own wounds, that we don't stop despising the wounded, I believe is something that you said. And for me, that is kind of like the story of this whole journey of Every Monday Matters, because on a Monday morning, 9 years ago, I was introduced to my wounds. And I woke up on a Monday morning to get ready for work, and while I was tying my shoes, I thought I was started having a heart attack. Again, because Tia told you that I was an ambulance driver for one day, because I only lasted one day because it was too stressful and gross for me. I drove myself to the doctor, which is not a good thing to do if you think you're having a heart attack. It was my Starsky and Hutch moment in life, you know. I put the siren on top. And they ran tests on my heart. What they realized is I was not having a heart attack. I was having a very severe panic attack. And this panic attack, the doctor said, should go away in about 24 hours. But that's not what happened for me. Instead, my panic attack turned into chronic anxiety and depression. And what was interesting about that is when I went to bed on Sunday night, I thought that my life was in perfect shape. I worked for Robert Kardashian. A lot of you know the Kardashian family these days. I think the Kardashian name is, even people that live under rocks have heard of the Kardashians. And I worked for Robert. Kim, Chloe, and Courtney all ran our front office. And during the day, it was what you would imagine that would be. And in the evening times, it was going out with some of the richest and most famous people in the world, which usually meant partying, drinking, doing drugs, objectifying women, thinking you were cool, and all this kind of stuff. And that was the life that I lived. And so on that Monday morning, when my wounds presented themselves to me, and I realized that I created this amazing life that I thought mattered. For 10 years, I built this life, and my definition of success was having fun, pleasure, 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 nice things, partying, women. And that's what I thought was success in life. And that world came crashing down really, really hard. So bad so that my anxiety, my panic attack, the depression got so bad that actually I would wake up with suicidal thoughts all the time. And I thought if I just pull the wheel of my car, I could just stop this thing that's going on. But fortunately, I was introduced to a therapist that I really believe saved my life. I think I put all her kids through college. I call her my expensive friend. I still call her my expensive friend. And we did a lot of work together, but there's one thing that she did that really hit me the hardest. And she told me, hey, Matt, until you understand what it means to live a life that's not about you, you're never going to feel better. Now, when you're an egotistical narcissist and you work in the most egotistical narcissistic industry there is, and you're the one having suicidal thoughts and all this kind of stuff, it's hard when someone tells you, hey, it's not about you. It doesn't really register so well. And I said, but I was desperate, so I said, okay, Denise, what do I do? What do I do? And she said, this Saturday I want you to go out and I want you to make lunches and feed homeless people. And next Saturday came along, I want you to go spend time with the elderly and read to them. I want you to go pick up litter, paint over graffiti, and every single Saturday she had me do this thing. And about 3 months into this secret Saturday journey that I was on, because I still worked in the industry, so I had to maintain my rep, you know, I had to be cool. On the Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. I'd go do these things. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but picking up litter kind of became my jam. There was something about being out in Los Angeles before the city was awake. And I knew the Meals on Wheels people, I knew the Starbucks, the UPS drivers. It was just me by myself picking up litter, and it was really where I found peace. And some buddies called and said, hey, Matt, listen, there's a big pool party going up in the hills, Hollywood Hills. Why don't you come join us and we'll go have fun? And I knew what that script was. That script was drinking, drugs, objectifying women, again, again, again. And in that moment I said, you know what, you guys, I'm not going to join you today because I'm out picking up litter in Los Angeles. I'm having a blast. And it was really the first moment that I came out with this secret. And I was like, oh no, I just said it. But in that moment, it also connected for me, like, this is what my therapist meant, to live a life that's not about you. That I could actually find more significance and purpose, and I always say warmth in my heart, picking up litter than I could in that other world that I worked in for all those years. And so in that moment, it also inspired me to want to write a book called Every Monday Matters. Now, a lot's happened since that book came out. There's something cool that just hit me right now about being in Palm Springs. Because a month after my book came out, I received an email from a single mother from here at Palm Springs. And the single mother, her name's Darby, she's 24. She was driving down the road, and she saw a car pulled over with a woman hanging out of the car. And so Darby sends me this email explaining the story, and Darby was assuming she was having car trouble. When she got to the car, she realized it wasn't car trouble, but she was actually there to commit suicide. And so Darby saved this woman from committing suicide. And she sent me this whole story, and at the end of it, it included a thank you letter that the woman wrote to Darby for saving her life. And then it said, if it wasn't for your book, I would have never pulled my car over. And when I got this email from a woman here in Palm Springs, that was the day I said, I'm done. I'm not going to do this music thing anymore. I want to try to make Every Monday Matters a household name. And so the fun part for me was I was introduced to many of you. I've seen a lot of familiar faces today 7 years ago. And you bought our school curriculum a long time ago, and it came on discs and DVDs, and God bless you, you're still doing the same lessons over and over again. But a lot has changed since then. But really quickly, what happened is I made a MySpace page, which is kind of funny to think about, and I started building this community. And then I started writing one newspaper column for Modesto Bee, with had a readership of like 6. I'm from Modesto, so I can say that. And that column got syndicated through McClatchy across the country. And then we started doing little team building events. And then we did a partnership with Oprah. And then we got cornered by the Stanislaus County Office of Ed and the San Joaquin County Office of Ed. They said, we're writing a school curriculum. So we wrote a school curriculum that we ended up selling in 3,000 schools across the country in 4 years. And then we did corporate programs. And Every Monday Matters just started becoming this thing, and it started growing and taking off. But there was one event that happened that had the strongest impact on my life and on the organization today. And I was asked to come speak to a group of convicted felons up in Northern California. And there was a judge there that was using our book with these convicted felons. And so I went up to this courthouse, went to the courtroom, I found the judge, and she's like, hey Matt, thanks for being here, are you ready? I said, yeah, great. And they opened up a side door, and in walks in a group of men and women who were in full prison jumpsuits, ankle chains, waist chains, handcuffs. And if that wasn't bad enough, they had them wearing flip-flops with socks, which I don't think flip-flops and socks should ever be worn together for a lot of reasons. And they came in and they sat down, and she said, okay, everybody, well, here's Matt. So Matt, why don't you go ahead and share? And in that moment, I lost words. But there was something about them doing this book. Even though their life was in the position it was in, they were still doing something that wasn't about them, and so I thanked them for that. And I asked her at the end if I could give them all You Matter wristbands that we have. And she said I could. And so you can imagine putting wristbands that say You Matter on handcuffed wrists. And it's a visual I'll never forget. And at the end of that, one of the convicted felons, he stood up. And he said, hey bro, can I talk to you for a second? And he's about 6'6", 300-pound Hispanic guy. And I'm a pretty decent-sized guy, but this guy was big. And I joked that it was one of those moments where you have like 1,000 thoughts go through your head at the same time. And like, did I look at him funny? Did I say something weird? I can run, he can't. Like, all these things. I said, yeah, man, what's up? And he said, I want you to know that no one's ever told me that I matter my entire life. And that's why I ended up where I am today. And in that moment, this convicted felon, he just changed me. And he changed us as an organization. And when I started thinking about this idea of mattering, and I think in our hearts, in our deepest places in all of our hearts, everyone here in this room, we want to feel like we matter. We want to know that we're seen, that we're heard, that we're loved. We want to wake up every day and know that our life has purpose and significance. And one day we're going to look back and say, wow, like that was a great life lived. I think it's something that we all want. And as I thought about it more, what I also realized, if we look out into the world today, and you watch local news at night, any story that we see out there in the world today that makes us cringe, And for me, because I was a secret litter picker-upper, a piece of litter actually makes me cringe. It drives me nuts that someone had the thought I can just throw that there and not worry about it. But whether it's a piece of litter, whether it's a story about domestic violence, whether it's a story about ISIS, or anything in between of this range, if you think about it, if you roll back the script on those stories, you're not going to find a tree or a duck or something like that. You're going to find a person, a human. And that person operated from one of two places. They either said, screw the world, I don't care, the world doesn't care about me, F this, F that, I'm down, I don't feel like I matter, I'm just going to litter, or I'm just going to punch this person, or I'm going to do whatever it is that I do. The other, or else you're going to find someone who says, yeah, I really do matter, but I matter for all the wrong reasons. I matter because I'm powerful, because I'm aggressive, because I have money, because I have a big ego. And that's why I matter. But I think either way, if we roll back the script and find these two types of people, we have to help those that don't feel like they matter, know they matter, and those that think they matter for the wrong reasons, realign why they think they matter. And so every Monday Matters 2 years ago, we flipped from a for-profit to a non-profit. And as you know, as a nonprofit, you have to have a cause. You have to have a problem you're taking on. And our cause that we're taking on is mattering. I say matterness, but it's not a word, and so it's hard to say that in front of a room of educators. But I believe that we can change the world, but changing the world comes from the inside out. We have to change the way we see ourselves and see other people. And so what I want to do is show you a quick video about what we do and how it relates to you, and then we're going to do something fun together.
Another shooting at an American high school.
Nearly 1 in 3 American women will have experienced some form of domestic abuse.
Eating to excess.
It's compromised in the cyber attack.
We're learning much more about Robin Williams.
More than 16 million kids are living in poverty, the most since 1962.
Overnight, hundreds of people pouring into New York's Times Square to protest the grand jury's stunning decision.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
Let's be honest. Things are a little off. We can see it in the world. We can feel it in our hearts. Is this really the world we want to create? Where people choose greed over generosity, apathy over service, and me over we? We can do better. We know we can. It's time for a new normal. A world connected to what matters most, where anger is replaced with compassion, depression with hope, entitlement with community, and fear with love. But it starts with you, me, us. Because we are the only ones who can change it. There's no one to point to, no one else to blame, no one to wait for, because we matter. I matter. You matter. And together, we will make it happen. Your thoughts will create companies. Your words will transform relationships. Your actions will leave a legacy. Your dreams will become realities. And when you're ready to own that, not only will it change your life, it will change the world. So, let's start living for something more. Join us.
Join us.
Join us. Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us. You matter.
When all the doors lock and you can't leave till you make the pledge, drink the punch. To me, when I look at all of you, I see a team of people who understand what it means to live a life that's not about you. You get that clearly. You don't do your work because of the fame and fortune. You do it because you care, and you're tirelessly going out there and letting these kids know how much they matter. And it's not just the kids, it's their families, it's the communities. I believe this room is the room that is changing the world without a question. And so as a thank you to all of you, there's a bag on your table that has wristbands in it. If I could ask one of you to open it. And once everyone has, don't put it on yet. You're really, really close to mattering. We're like it's 30 seconds away. Okay, you're almost there. Once everyone has one, I'll give you a second. We're going to do something with them before we put them on. I see a hand raised. Oh. Does everyone have a wristband? No? Okay. Are they on your table? That's interesting. They're coming to you from somewhere. Now you good? Uh-oh. Thank you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do really quickly. I believe that one of the foundations and fundamentals for changing the world and changing our own lives and changing our relationships is how we engage with one another. We live in a society today that is more connected than ever before, but I feel like we're more disconnected than ever before. Just wait in line at Starbucks and you'll see it. All you see is the tops of people's heads because they're all looking at phones. We don't engage with one another the way we used to. And I believe that engagement happens face-to-face, eye-to-eye, with meaningful conversation. And so, what we're going to do right now is partner up for 1 minute. We have 1 minute to do this. You're going to partner up with someone sitting next to you or at your table or somewhere else, and you're going to take your wristband and you're going to let that person know how much they matter to you and how much you appreciate them. But most importantly, you're going to tell them why. What is it about them that makes them so special to you? And then you're going to give them your wristband. And then they're going to do the same thing back to you, and then you're going to give their wristband, and then you can put them on, and then we matter. Sound good? So we have 1 minute to exchange wristbands and share these things. Go. So really quickly, I would like to ask for volunteers, a volunteer pair, that would like to share with the room what you said to one another when you exchanged your wristbands. Any volunteer pairs that will share? Over there, okay. Ooh. How are you?
Really good.
Okay, all I ask is that we give our full attention to these two as they share what they said to one another.
Hi. So when I walked into the room, everybody was already sitting down, and I felt like I wasn't a part of anybody, and I had nowhere to sit. And I looked at all the tables, and then I saw Heidi, and she was wearing a hijab, her head covered in a scarf, and I thought, well, she might sometimes not feel like she's safe or a part of anything. So if I sit at that table, I'll definitely be safe. So Heidi really matters today.
Yeah, wow. Try following up after that. So when Aminta, when you shared that with me, I just thought, who connects with someone so quickly like that? Like, who can just read someone and in 30 seconds have made that connection? And I started crying when she shared that with me. And I just thought, if she did that to me in 30 seconds, how amazing is this woman, and how is she making those connections and changing people's lives every single day? And wow, she must matter to a lot of people because she already matters to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Does anyone want to follow that one up? Okay, let me get back to the stage. Both of you, we'll have a... Which one's on? Check, 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 check. Can you hear me? If the two of you can come up to our booth, we'll give you each a You Matter t-shirt to say thank you for sharing. I know it's not easy to share. Okay, I'm just going to wrap up here really quickly, and I want to share a couple quick things. So, part of the reason we became a nonprofit at Every Monday Matters was because we met people like you in this room that were buying our first curriculum for $500 for your schools, and a lot of times you're buying it with your own money. That's a barrier for us. We're not okay with that. And so, we took the cost away for you. And so what we've done is we completely rewrote the last curriculum. We have a brand new curriculum that we launched last year, today, here at Boost. So it's our 1-year anniversary for the new program. And I will say now, after 1 year, we already have 260,000 students enrolled. It's being downloaded in 39 states and 6 countries. It's an amazing program. And if all of you go to the website and register, again, it's now free for educators to do this. So, and lastly, I'll share this. A few months ago, I was in Las Vegas. It's an awkward story a little bit, but because Father Boyle cusses, I feel like I can share it. Yeah. So I was in Las Vegas, and I was keynoting the United Way Western Region Conference. And after I did my keynote, it was one of the big resorts in Vegas. I had to use the facility to go number 1. And for the men in the room, like we know that number 1 means you use a urinal on a wall. And so I was standing there at this urinal doing what you do. And this guy comes walking in, and he gets in the urinal right next to me. Now that was weird enough because there's like 15 urinals, okay? And they were all empty except for me. And so why would he have to come right here? I'm thinking, okay, awkward. And then he decides he wants to have bathroom talk with me. Now, women, you go to the bathroom together because you think it's fun. Men don't do that, right? We go by ourselves. He's like, hey, man, how's it going? And you're like, great, how you doing? You don't really want to turn your head, right? Because that's not cool. And I said, great, how you doing? And he's like, you know, I want to say thank you. I'm thinking, oh my God, like, what's this guy going to do? And then he said, you just taught me something about 30 minutes ago. And I thought, oh, he was in the audience. Okay, now I'm feeling better. And he said, you taught me something. He said, my whole life I had it, that I had to love myself until I could go out and love on other people. But what you showed me is actually can work the other way as well. You could learn how to love yourself through loving other people. And I think that's the same for mattering. I had to understand why my life mattered by being there for other people, and then I learned it. Or else we're already in this room here today and we know how much we matter, and so then how far can we take it? I think either way is fine. I think the question is, when we leave here this conference, and I see this airplane map, I don't know why I see this airplane map, like when you're on the airplane, they have that thing showing all the flight paths. And I see from this room flight paths going everywhere to states, countries. And this room gets to go and spread as a team of people connected to try to make this world a better place and to change the lives for our youth. And I just hope that you go out there knowing how much you matter and keep doing the fight. Even when we get the bad news, like what Michael shared earlier, we're just going to keep fighting because that's what we do. So thank you so much. You all matter beyond words. And Tia, thanks again for having me. You rock.